All right, y'all. This is Dominic 369 coming back at y'all for Occultism Unleashed. We're gonna look into the United States chart. We're gonna talk about this Pluto retrograde. You know, I slip on my eyes so we can see. You know. So first thing we're gonna get to is Pluto. This outer ring is the transits in the United States chart, and this inner ring is the natal chart of the United States chart. As you can see, you know, retrograde Pluto is conjunct retrograde Pluto in the United States natal chart. You know, retrograde Pluto is in the second house of the United States chart, and Saturn is also in the United States chart. Saturn in the United States chart in the sign of Aquarius. You're talking about, establishing more altruistic and humanitarian values. But we're going to look right here at Pluto because this is a Pluto return. When a nation is in a Pluto return, Pluto evaluates if the nation has lived up to its ideals and principles, and if it hasn't lived up to the ideals and principles that it has purported to the world, because Pluto affects things on a world scale. If these values that we're reevaluating, because retrograde means looking within the values, looking in the hidden wealth of the nation. We're really evaluating these things right now. And as you see, Pluto is retrograde, and it's opposing the part of fortune in the eighth house. It's opposing, it's retrograding into opposition with the part of fortune. The part of fortune is ruled by the moon, which rules, the eighth house, cusp, the house of death. So, a lot of values are going to be separated from. A lot of changes are coming in this nation, and a lot of people aren't going to like it. Right now you see Mars. Mars is conjunct Venus. Venus rules the sixth house and the fifth house. The sixth house rules the police. It rules unions. It rules medical workers. It rules the health of the nation. And the issue with black people and the police is in the forefront. You see that conjunction right there? That means these things are being highlighted. The president right now, as you see by the sun, because the sun tells you the focal point in the chart. During the transits, wherever the sun's at in the chart, that tells you where the highlight is in at the chart. The nation's fifth house is how a nation markets itself and promotes itself. You know what I'm saying? And you see a highlight in that area where they're trying to improve not only their financial relations within the world, but really establish themselves in a new position, because Taurus is a fixed sign, and Taurus also is the natural ruler of the second house and money. So you see the United States trying to restructure itself on the world map and really try to change how they're seen, but they're not doing a good job. They're not doing a good job. In the next 10 days, you're gonna have squares from Venus and Uranus to the moon. The moon, the third house. It's gonna be a lot of stuff in the news about death and stuff involving the police. That's coming. I'm telling you now, it's coming. You know. Uh, Again, with Pluto being retrograde, they're really gonna be forced to take a look at their values, and if they can't change their values, you can expect this motherfucker to burn. You can expect that. You know, it's a Pluto return and Pluto retrograde. You know, Pluto is going to retrograde into an opposition of Mercury. Mercury rules the seventh house of war. It rules the allies. It rules legislation. So, the energy that Pluto is bringing, it just may as well bring some change. You see Saturn, the ruler of the house of money, in Aquarius. It's about to trine Saturn in the 10th house. You're gonna see the president make some interesting, because the president is ruled by the 10th house. The planet in the 10th house represents the president. Saturn trying Saturn. You're gonna see Joe Biden make some interesting announcements about the way the finances work in this nation. You're gonna hear some good stuff about cryptocurrency too. Good legislation. You know, it's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. You know, in regards to other people's money. How do I know this? Because the eighth house rules other people's money, loans, death. Things like that. The ruler of the eighth house is the moon. The moon's over here in the 12th house right now, the house of secrets. Things going on behind the scenes. You know, Tomorrow this stuff is going to come out. It's going to come out in the next 2 or 3 days as the moon opposes Mars. You can expect some news to come out. In regards to legislation for Black people. Watch what I tell you. Watch what I tell you. And it's gonna make a lot of people mad. It's gonna make a lot of people mad, but the things that are about to unfold over the next few months are necessary to get where we want to go. You ain't gonna get change without no discomfort, because discomfort is what motivates a motherfucker to change, and that's just reality. This Neptune, we come down here, we look at Neptune, opposite Neptune. Neptune ruled Pisces, but Pisces is intercepted in the third house. That tell you about all the deception and stuff that go on in the United States about religion and spiritual practices and stuff like that. Neptune opposite Neptune in the third house, the collective consciousness within this country is separating from those deceptive details and speculations about what spirituality is. I'm telling y'all, it's some things going on, man. It's some things going on in the universe that these people can't stop. Couldn't stop if they wanted to. But Pluto retrograde in the second house, and it's making a station. It's going retrograde on the natal Pluto. The changes are coming. I promise you. I promise you. And those who are resistant to them, they're not gonna last. That right there, I promise you, they're not gonna last. Just like I promised y'all that Biden and Kamala Harris would win the election by looking at her chart. I'm telling you, their roller coaster ride is coming to an end. It's coming to an end, man. Mars is gonna hit on Jupiter this week in the United States house. They're gonna, you're gonna see the United States asserting herself, aggressively, posturing aggressively in foreign lands and things like that. And as it hits the sun, as Mars conjoins the sun, expect these people to start engaging in some warlike activities. But when you look at Mars as it progresses through the United States chart, when we start looking, we push this up and go about it. I want to move into June. We move into June. This is gonna take us up to June on the screen. I'm just, with this program, you can move the planet in it, fast forward to the date when the planet's in that location. But yeah, I just want to look at the sun as it begins to conjoin Mars in the seventh house, and see what Mars is the transit in Mars is hitting on, because that's gonna give a lot of insight into what the United States got going on in June. That's right around the eclipse, and I don't want to get too much off the subject because I'm gonna make a video on that later. But June 8th, Mars will be opposite the United States Pluto. Opposite the United States Pluto, you know, it's not going to be a happy time in the United States in the next 3 months. It's not going to be a happy time at all. People are creating the conditions to sow seeds of discord, and they are going to get what they've been looking for. You're gonna see in after you know I don't want to unpack too much. Just understand that this Pluto is going to create a power shift. This Pluto retrograde, it's going to create a power shift that's going to cause some strife within the nation and within the country, and people who are interested in really living up to what America says it stands for. It's going to be up to you to make sure this motherfucker don't burn. It's coming. That I assure you. That